Welcome to episode 3 of Technically Speaking, the first and only show where sales and security nerds get to hash it out. I'm Asa Winchester, and this is my good friend and the person I call when my computer breaks, Salesloft's Vice President of Information Security, Mike Meyer. So, Mike, you've spent the last 5 years building Salesloft security programs and scaling it for a $1 billion business. What's the secret sauce?
I'm so glad you asked. I can't wait to tell you all about it. No, there isn't one, right? And I think any security leader will tell you that. There are any number of ways to build a security program, to run a security program. I will say, if there was a secret sauce, there was one thing that I would tell another security leader if they were starting a security program. It's don't shy away from involving others, right? In order for security teams to really get meaningful work done, they've got to have involvement from, if it's a SaaS business, right, their product team, engineers, you need the folks on your infrastructure team, you need your legal team. Risks are generally not owned exclusively by the security team. They're typically owned by whoever owns a technology or a process, right? You've got to have good relationships across the business and make sure that the context for why you're even having these discussions is well understood by the risk owners across the business. Right?
So from a CISO's perspective, what are some of the potential risks that they would need to be aware of or know about in general when thinking about sales engagement for their business?
This is often a conversation that I'll have with other CISOs where right away they want to know about our security program, but they need the context for what the heck is it that we're trying to buy, right? And so sales engagement, if you're a CISO watching this, sales engagement is it's a tool effectively to improve the effectiveness of your sales reps, and it's a tool that allows your sellers to engage directly with the buyer. And so, for a sales engagement platform, you think about the risks, right? Sales engagement platforms are going to have access to your email system in some capacity. They're generally going to have access to your CRM. Your reps are going to be typically recording phone calls, and those calls get transcribed. There's going to be AI involvement in the platform. So yeah, obviously that's why we have a security program, right? We want to make sure that our customers trust us with the immense amounts of data that we process. Because this is such a critical platform for these companies, they need to also be able to trust that the providers that they're working with have a security program that aligns with their policies and their risk appetite.
So going off of that, how does Salesloft help organizations comply with their own security policies?
Yeah, I think the answer there is twofold. There's one, it's our own security program, our controls, right? We hold ourselves to a very high standard of risk assessment, risk identification. We want to set the example for security and sales engagement. We want to make sure that our controls align with best practices and that we're effectively able to defend against cyber threats and ultimately protect our customers. If you think about our platform, we are constantly thinking about not just the sellers and what they need, but also the other buyers that we have, right? The legal teams, the security teams at our customers, right? And so, we want to make sure that the features, the capabilities that we're building in the product also serve them. And so that means better governance in the platform. It means granular configurability of configurations within the platform, roles and permissions in the platform, making sure that we've got, that we've given the customer the ability to set up the platform in a way that aligns with their policies. Right? The way I interpret GDPR, the way I interpret SOC 2 and ISO 27001 and these other standards does not always look like how a customer is going to interpret those same standards.
And I would imagine, based off of the industry, those standards and guardrails could look dramatically different.
Absolutely. Financial services business and a SaaS business could potentially look very, very different.
So it's all about just making sure that the infrastructure is there to stay compliant within your own security standards, but also supported by a product that is backed up by some of the best standards.
Absolutely. Nailed it. Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So when my AEs are in a deal cycle and security review comes up, the number one certification that comes up, and we hear it every single time, is SOC 2.
Yeah.
Explain it to me like I don't know a single thing about it. Why is it so important, and why does it come up so often?
I think the easiest way to explain it is the SOC 2 report is an independent assessor's opinion, but ultimately there are two things that they're looking at, right? Do you say that the controls you have in place, do those controls align with the trust services criteria? And then when the auditors themselves are doing independent testing, were they actually able to verify that over the past 6 months or 12 months that you did in fact do what you said you did? It is a useful tool in security reviews because it tells you that not only does this company say that they have all these great security controls and they're protecting your data and that they're highly available, all that, but also they've had somebody independently verify it. So it's useful from that perspective. The one caution that I would give anybody who's looking to learn about SOC 2 is that it doesn't make a company secure, right? And so one of the requirements in SOC 2 and ISO 27001 is that you've got this model of continuous risk assessment and improvement. And so if you are doing that and doing it well and not just checking a box for compliance, then you're going to be on the way to having a really solid program, because that means that you're effectively identifying risk, you're championing risk within the business.
Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Be sure to check out our previous episodes of Technically Speaking, where we cover why security leaders are in deals, what salespeople need to know about security, and more.